Hello, I'm John Weiler with the Sovereign Passage Assembly, and this is our daily brief for February 4th, 2019. Today we're going to begin with our study of the portion of the Torah called Yithro. Yithro is a name, and it's the name of Mosheh's father-in-law. Yithro means His Excellency, and he's identified as Reuel for his last name, and that means friend of El. The reading for Parsha Yithro is Shemoth, which is Exodus chapter 18, verse 1 through chapter 20, verse 23. And this is a very important portion that we're going to be studying, because this gives us our covenant, or our berit, with Yahweh, which solidifies the relationship and separates Yasharel, the upright of El, from the world. Okay, so coming off of Sabbath with last week's Beis Shalach, we have the children of Yasharel in the wilderness, and they have received water from the rock and manna from heaven, okay, but it's found on the ground every morning. So what that tells us is that Yasharel has been receiving instruction from Yahweh, okay, so the bread and the water. And so they have an understanding of the way of Yah, and they are being taught and they're learning. Because that's what the wilderness is. We're in the wilderness. It's a place of instruction and testing, proving. So we have to be very aware of that ourselves, because we're waiting to enter our rest, which is the first moed, or first appointment of Sabbath that we will keep that we keep now, and that Yah will keep with us, for us, when Mashiach returns. Okay, and that's when we will be in our rest. So we're in the wilderness, place of instruction and proving. And it's our time now to show where our heart is, or our spiritual desire is. Is it still on ourselves and the things of the world, this body, or is it on Yahweh, the way, and the things of Him and the things of others? Okay, that's the life to come. So it's all a choice to us. It's a choice. But we're seeing much of the same tendencies in ourselves that we see here with Yasharel, who is pulled out of similar or the same situation that we're pulled out of today, with the authority of Hasatan, or the serpent. Okay, and we've talked over the last couple of weeks on how we made it to this point. Okay, right now in this day and age, with the choices of those that we're studying right now. And this gives us, because we have the complete word assembled, and we also have a double portion of manna right now. Okay, the outpouring of the Ruach on the sixth day, or what is the end, or very close to the culmination of these times, that we have the understanding now, or at least we have the opportunity for the ability to understand. Okay, so all the tools are given to us, so we can read here with our desire for the relationship, to know what is our covenant partner, our partner in the berit, that how to love, what love is, okay? Because we don't know what love is. Our love is about ourselves. It's what we want. Even though we lie and we say, no, it's about somebody else or something else. I really love them so much. It's not true. It's about you and what you want, and the type of person that you want, and the type of person that you want them to be. Most of the time we live in a fantasy. We see our relationships the way that we want to see them, not the way that they are. when we come to the understanding of the relationship with Yahweh, it actually opens our eyes to our other relationships, and that can be a challenge too. With, the people that we have in our lives and how we want to see them versus how they are, how they behave. Because we are now looking towards the selfless relationship with Yahweh, and we're trying to approach to love our neighbor as ourselves. So we're trying to approach him the same selfless way, but we can see the selfish tendencies, of which we had and still have. Okay, and those are all parts of our challenges to come out. But as we start to do this, we start to see the truth of the reality around us. So we start to step out of this fantasy that we've been living in and these desires that we've been wanting versus what things really are. So we see the same tendencies in ourselves that we see with the children of Yasharel, especially coming out now today, where we have the Ruach HaKodesh, which is our immersion of fire, which is the burning out of the impurities that are inside of us for a sanctified vessel. Yahweh will not draw near to the unrighteous. So we have to change. We have to have the desire to change, and then we have the tools given to us. So we have Yasharel, who's on this path that we're on right now, receiving the instructions that we are receiving too, and not following them, not being complete in the way, and even to the point to where, like for example, in chapter 16, verse 28, and Yahweh says to Mosheh, "How long will you refuse to guard my commandments and my Torah?" Okay, this is receiving manna, which is, what is this? Okay, that's what manna means, is what are the whatness, okay? Because they'd never seen it before, right? And they're physically being sustained with this, but it's also the spiritual. So they're getting the instructions of Yahweh, which was presented to Mosheh in the burning bush, when he said that I didn't present myself to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. I presented myself as El Shaddai, not Yahweh. Okay, I am that I am. Yahweh is the way. Okay, to be as Elohim. Okay, you get the Ruach Elohim. Okay, so that's where we have left them. There's been a little battle with Amalek, and we discussed that with Yahusha returning at the end to pick up the serpent rod and have the authority of the rod of iron. So now we are going to pick back up with Yasharel at the Mount of Elohim, and we're going to see the father-in-law of Mosheh come back into his life and bringing that personal portion of Mosheh to us here to learn from. So let's read chapter 18 and then we'll talk about it. When Yithro, the priest of Midian, Mosheh's father-in-law, heard all that Elohim had done for Mosheh and for Yasharel his people, and that Yahweh had brought Yasharel out of Mitzrayim, then Yithro, Mosheh's father-in-law, took Tsipporah, Mosheh's woman, after he had sent her back. And her two sons, of which the names of one was Gershom, for he said, I have been an alien in a strange land. And the name of the other was Eliy'etzer, for the Elohai of my father said he was my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. And Yithro, Mosheh's father-in-law, came with his sons and his woman unto Mosheh into the wilderness, where he encamped at the mount of Elohim. And he said unto Mosheh, I, your father-in-law, Yithro, am come unto you, and your woman and her two sons with her. And Mosheh went out to meet his father-in-law, and did obeisance, and kissed him, and they asked each other of their welfare, and they came into the tent. And Mosheh told his father-in-law all that Yahweh had done unto Pharaoh and to the Mitzrayim for Yasharel's sake, and all the travail that had come upon them by the way, and how Yahweh had delivered them. And Yithro rejoiced for all the goodness which Yahweh had done to Yasharel, whom he had delivered out of the hand of the Mitzrayim. And Yithro said, Blessed be Yahweh, who has delivered you out of the hand of the Mitzrayim, and out of the hand of Pharaoh, who has delivered the people from under the hand of the Mitzrayim. Now I know that Yahweh is greater than all the Elohim, for in the thing wherein they dealt proudly, he was above them. And Yithro, Mosheh's father-in-law, took a burnt offering and sacrifices for Elohim. And Aharon came, and all the elders of Yasharel too, to eat bread with Mosheh's father-in-law before Elohim. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moshe sat to judge the people, and the people stood by Moshe from the morning until the evening. And when Moshe's father-in-law saw all that he did to the people, he said, "What is this thing that you do to the people? Why sit you yourself alone, and all the people stand by you from morning unto evening?" And Moshe said unto his father-in-law, "Because the people came unto me to inquire of Elohim. When they saw the matter, they came unto me, and I judged between one and another, and I do make them know the statutes of Elohim and his Torah." And Moshe's father-in-law said unto him, "The thing that you do is not good. You will surely wear away both you and this people that is with you, for this thing is too heavy for you. You are not able to perform it yourself alone. Hearken now unto my voice. I will give you counsel, and Elohim shall be with you. Be for the people to Elohim ward, that you may bring the causes unto Elohim. And you shall teach them ordinances and Torah, and shall show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. Moreover, you shall provide out of all the people able men, such as fear Elohim, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them, to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s and rulers of 10s. And let them judge the people at all seasons, and it shall be that every great matter they shall bring unto you, but every small matter they shall judge. So shall it be easier for yourself, and they shall bear the burden with you. If you shall do this thing, and Elohim command you so, then you shall be able to endure, and all the people shall also go to their place in peace." So Moshe hearkened to the voice of his father-in-law, and did all that he had said. And Moshe chose able men out of all Yasharel, and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s. And they judged the people at all seasons. The hard cases they brought unto Moshe, but every small matter they judged themselves. And Moshe let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way into his own land. So Yithro, we've met him before when Moshe ran away and delivered Tsipporah and his other daughters from the other shepherds who were preventing their flock from drinking. So he chased the other shepherds away, and then he watered the flock, which would have been Yithro's flock, and then became, through Torah anyways, through the account in Torah, that he became a shepherd, basically worked for Yithro for a number of years. And that's the end. What we have with Tsipporah and the sons of Moshe doesn't really end in a way, as far as what we hear of Tsipporah, that it doesn't end very well. So back in Shemoth, Exodus chapter 4, verse 24, "And it came to pass by the way in the inn, as Moshe and his wife, his woman, and his sons were going down, came to pass by the way in the inn that Yahweh met him and sought to kill him. Then Tsipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet, and said, Surely a bloody man are you to me. So he let him go. Then she said, A bloody man you are because of the circumcision." And then we don't see her again. There's a statement where at some point where that he had sent her back. Okay, sent her back. Now we have Yithro. He's identified as the father-in-law several times, and just about every time. Okay, where it's got Yithro, it's Moshe's father-in-law, and that's a term that we have that's very common today. So it's not my father, but my wife's father, so it's my father-in-law, still part of the family, still has, the say in the family because we're connected. But here, the term is chatan, which is Strong's H2859, and it means to give away in marriage or contract relationship. So what we see here is Yithro coming back, and he's bringing Tsipporah and Mosheh's sons. And in verse 6, in chapter 18, he states that I am your father-in-law and come unto you and your woman and her 2 sons. Not your 2 sons, but her 2 sons with her. And when he comes back, it states, let me find the verse here, that he has come with Mosheh's woman after he had sent her back. It's in verse 2. And sent her back, I myself can look at it as, this is a big task. I don't know how long I'm going to be down in Mitzrayim, and I'm going to be really busy. It would be better for you to stay with your dad until it's time, until things are settled down a little bit. Okay? And that's very well possible that could have been this way. Most say, hey, you got to go back. This is, I'm needed here, and I can't have any distractions. Or he sent her away. Okay? That what was occurring here with her, especially with what we see with her reaction to the circumcision of Gershom, the firstborn, is what it seems here, or the son anyways, that you are a bloody man to me. Okay, that's what she says. So he let him go, and she said, a bloody man you are because of the circumcision. And it doesn't say which son either. In Exodus chapter 4, it says the foreskin of her son. But the word for had sent her away is shiluach, and that means a dismissal or divorce. Okay, and that's Strong's H7964. The root of that word is shalach, and that means to send away. Okay, or the primitive usage is salach. But what we see there, or can see there, is that he had divorced her. He had sent her away for good. And now we have Yithro coming back, so the father-in-law coming back to give away in marriage his daughter to Mosheh. So, or to contract this relationship with Mosheh. Yeah, and at the end it says, and Mosheh let his father-in-law depart, and he went away to his own land. It doesn't say anything about Tsipporah or the 2 sons. So that's very interesting. Okay, it's very interesting there, because we're talking about what is here, what we can see is what is joined together. Okay, with Mosheh, the man. All right, and now Yithro is coming back to contract this relationship. Yithro means his excellency, and his last name, for what we understand it, is Reuel, and that means friend of El. But, and he's identified as a priest or Cohen of Midian, but he doesn't believe, because up to the point he says, blessed be Yahweh who has delivered you out of the hand of the Mitzrayim, out of the hand of Pharaoh, who has delivered the people from under the hand of Mitzrayim. Now I know that Yahweh is greater than all Elohim, for in the thing wherein they dealt proudly, he was above them. Okay, but, a statement like that is not like, yeah, I always knew that. It is, now I know, because I could look at all this group of people right here, and I know, I heard what happened to Pharaoh and the rest of his armies. They're drowned in the Red Sea, so now I'm going to come down and check it out. Now I know. But Mosheh is very respectful. So when he comes out to meet his father-in-law. He did obeisance, bows down, and kiss him. So he shows the authority to Yithro, which is very interesting. And they asked each other of their welfare, and they came into the tent. And then Mosheh tells him everything, and Yithro has that reaction there. And then they all eat together in front of Elohim. Okay, so the burnt offering, which is it's called olah, which means to ascend. So korban is a gift to approach, or korban olah, which is a burnt offering, is a gift to approach, to ascend. So what they say there, they bring this gift to approach, to ascend for Elohim, to Elohim, and they sat and ate with Aharon and the elders in front of Elohim, okay, before Elohim. So it's all very interesting, and it talks about this as, very well as just a joining back. It very well could be that he sent her up with the kids to Yithro. Now Yitro's bringing them back. They're safe. Can't be used against Mosheh as an example. But now they're safe. But it's also very interesting with the terms for what he dismissed her. But there was no written, for what were away. He just sent her back. So divorce, with what we learn in Torah, that is written, that you have to present a written divorce, and then you're done, and you can't come back into relationship. And this is what happened with Yasharel. This is the reason for the Mashiach here, to make atonement for man, and it's also to make atonement for Yasharel, the upright of El, because they were divorced from the relationship. So his blood, his death, his blood was the atonement for the rejection, which is death. Okay, so that goes all the way back to Adam with his rejection, with hearkening to the words of the serpent. And then his resurrection is what allows us to enter back into our berit, our marriage covenant, that we're going to read here tomorrow, day after tomorrow. So we can repent, come back into relationship. Okay, but it's because of this divorce that we're talking about right now. And it's not because of Moshe's divorce. It's just the concept of divorce. Okay, so we're told that by the standard that we judge, we will be judged. So very quickly, let's turn to Matthew chapter 19 for what Mashiach tells us about this. This is very important to us. Because it relates to the choices that we have, the choices that we have, and how that affects the life to come. So chapter 19, we'll read verse 1 through 12, and it came in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 1 through 12. And it came to pass that when Yahushua had finished these sayings, he had departed from Galilee and came to the coast of Yahud beyond the Yarden, and great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there. The Parashim also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his woman for every cause? And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them in the beginning made them male and female, and said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his woman, and they two shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more two, but one flesh. What therefore Yah has joined together, let no man put asunder. They say unto him, Why did Mosheh then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? He said unto them, Mosheh, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your woman. But from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his woman, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, breaks wedlock. And whoso marries her, which is put away, breaks wedlock. And his Talmud said unto him, If the case of the man be so with his woman, it is not good to marry. But he said unto them, All men cannot receive this saying, save they to whom it is given. For there are some eunuchs which are born from their mother's womb, and there are some eunuchs which are made eunuchs of men, and there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of Yahweh's sake. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it. Okay, so Parashim say, is it lawful to put away a woman? Divorce. Well, we know it's divorce. Put her away. for every cause. And Yehusha says, well, that it was said in the beginning that Yah made male and female, and that this cause, because of this creation, that every man shall leave father and mother and cleave to his woman, and they shall become one flesh. Now, that is the relationship that we have with Yahweh. Now, we look to cleave to Yah through the Ruach HaKodesh, which is given to us through Yahushua HaMashiach, okay, to where we become one. And the word is Yachad, and that is beloved ones, okay? Or Ichad, but Yachad is beloved ones. So in verse 6 is, wherefore they be no more two, but one flesh. What therefore Yah has joined together, let no man put asunder. And then they ask, they say, well, why did Mosheh then command to give a writing of divorcement and put her away? And he said, Mosheh, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your woman, but from the beginning it was not so. So their desire was to have this ability to leave the relationship. But in the beginning it was not so. It was one man and one woman. And then he clarifies there, says, whosoever shall put away his woman except for it be for fornication, and shall marry another, breaks wedlock. And whoso marries her, which is put away, breaks wedlock. And that's what Yasharel did in this relationship with Yahweh. Okay, with fornication, with other desires, okay, other things, broke the relationship. Okay, and it's looked upon as a marriage relationship. And then the Talmudim say, well, it's if that's the case, it's better if you just don't get married. And he said, well, all men cannot receive this, but there are some that are born eunuchs that cannot procreate. Born that way, some are made eunuchs, and some have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of Yah, and that he is able to receive it, let him receive it. And that doesn't mean that, we are mutilating our bodies for the kingdom of Yahweh. It means that we are devoting everything, and there is no wife and children, okay? And the completeness of the way is then sought after by that individual. So that's very challenging. Because I today have a wife and 4 kids. I love them very much, and I love Yahweh very much. And Yah comes first in my life. But the difference here with myself versus the understanding of becoming a eunuch for the kingdom of Yahweh is that I teach my children. My goal is to prepare them to go out into the world that hearkens to the serpent. That is the serpent that has the authority here to they themselves to encapsulate the light, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, by their choices, by what they want in their lives. The same is my relationship with my wife. The relationship with your significant other should mimic the relationship that you have with Yahweh, because it's the same type of relationship. A person will never understand it until we seek the relationship with Yahweh. And then truly when we seek the relationship with Yahweh, we will start to seek the relationship with our significant other. We'll see what's lacking there. And then we will seek that relationship. So, going back to the divorce here, though, all right, in Jeremiah chapter 3, we'll start at verse 6. So Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 6 says, And Yahweh said unto me in the day of Yeshayahu the king, Have you seen that which backsliding Yasharel has done? She's gone up upon every high mountain and under every green tree, and there has played the harlot. And I said, after she had done all these things, turn you unto me, but she returned not. And her treacherous sister Yehuda saw it, and I saw, for all the causes whereby backsliding Yasharel broke wedlock, I had put her away, and given her a sefer of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Yehuda feared not, and went and played the harlot also. And it came to pass through the lightness of her whoredom that she defiled the land and broke wedlock with stones and with stocks. And yet, for all this, her treacherous sister Yehuda has not turned unto me with her whole heart, but feignedly, says Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto me, the backsliding Yasharel has justified herself more than treacherous Yehuda. Okay, but that's what happened. They were divorced, okay, with the sefer of divorce by Yahweh. And now the Mashiach came to join back the upright of El through his death and resurrection. Okay, so now through that gift we can enter back into relationship. Okay, that's very, very important. And then once we understand that, we can see what went wrong. That's what we're studying right here, and don't do it. Don't do that. Okay, so going back to Torah, with being made a eunuch for the kingdom of Yahweh, we don't hear a lot about Moshe's personal life here. Okay, we see this, and there is no written sefer of divorce, no written thing of divorce from Mosheh to his wife, but we do see a reintroduction of things, or reintroduction of the family unit to Mosheh by Yithro, Moshe's father-in-law, which is Chatan, Strong's H2859, which is to give away in marriage or a contract relationship. Okay, so it seems that Yithro was there very specifically for this cause. And then how we had visited about what was occurring in Yasharel with the bitter waters being made sweet, the manna from heaven, the bread from heaven, and the water from the rock, is that there is been instruction given from Mosheh to Yasharel. So these things have been occurring. And then Mosheh is sitting to judge the people based off of the way, okay, the way of Yahweh. And he is sitting out, and Yithro, his father-in-law, comes out and says, well, what are you doing? And then Mosheh says, because the people come unto me to inquire of Elohim, when they have a matter, they come unto me, and I judge between one and another, and I do make them know the statutes of Elohim and his Torah. Okay, and that's what happens today. Mosheh is doing that right now. Okay, the Torah, the instructions of Yah, the way of Yah, the name of Yah is given through Mosheh. It is filled up through Mashiach, so we know how to do it right. Okay, but the statutes and the commands and the chukot, the things that we're supposed to do, is given through Mosheh. And today he judges between what we need to be doing. So we need to go to the Torah, go to Mashiach, go to learn the Torah, learn from Mashiach for how we interact with our relationship with Yahweh and our relationship with others. Okay, and at the very end, the whole world is going to be judged by Mosheh, by the Torah, because this is the way, the standard of relationship for those seeking Elohim. So the Torah, Mosheh, is the standard to judge. And what's happening here, he says, yeah, I'm judging the people. So this is what then I teach them too, and I make them know the statutes of Elohim. And Yithro says, this isn't good. Why are you doing this? He goes, look at all these people here. You're gonna wear yourself out. Shouldn't be doing that. Okay, so there's one thing really to consider here when somebody is speaking in this way, saying, first of all, this is not good. This is too heavy for you, too much of a burden, and you are not able to perform it yourself alone. Now, is Elohim the one saying this? And the answer is no. This is Yithro. Okay, this is a man. And it's somebody that Mosheh gives great respect to, and in a sense, authority to. Okay, we see made obeisance to. But is this thing too heavy for you? Who chose Mosheh? Elohim chose Mosheh. Okay, Elohim is the one that presented himself as Yahweh. So, is this thing too heavy? Now, will Mosheh wear away? Okay, does the Torah given through Moshe wear away? Yahweh is Yah Asher Yah. It's I am that I am, or I will be that I will be. Okay, the Yahweh is the same today, yesterday, and tomorrow. Okay, he's eternal. Is Moshe going to wear away? The answer is no. Okay, but this is the explanation here. It says it's not good for you, it's not good for the people, everybody's just waiting right here. It says, hearken now unto my voice, and I'll give you counsel, and Elohim shall be with you. Be for the people to Elohim ward, is how it's put here, that you may bring the causes unto Elohim. And you shall teach the ordinances in the Torah, and shall show them the way wherein they should walk, the work that they must do. Moreover, you shall provide out of all the people able men, such as fear Elohim, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. And then basically they'll help bear, and it has here in parentheses the burden. Okay, but to look at the phrasing in the Hebrew, there's no burden there, but to bear with you. And because what we're saying is the burden is the way of Yah, and that's not a burden. In fact, it's the opposite of that. And Moshe is not really bearing a burden. He is going forth as Elohim has commanded him. But he said, and they shall help you bear, and you shall do this thing, and Elohim command you so. Then you should be able to endure. And all the people shall go to their place in peace. Okay, shalom. All right, well, where the Elohim word, so you're gonna take the tough cases to Elohim, and then they'll bring the ones that you put in charge, the heads of the people, the Rosh, or the heads of the people. They will judge the little matters. You're going to judge the weighty ones, the heavy ones. Okay. Well, to be Elohim ward, the word ward there is Strong's H4135, and it's mul, which is the same word for circumcision. So, which is very interesting, and it means to cut short. So, be the people to Elohim that is just short of Elohim. Okay? And then you bring the causes to Elohim. And he says, moreover, you shall provide out of all the people able men. And that word is hul, which is Strong's H2342, and that means to twist or whirl. Okay? So you're provide out of the people men that will twist or whirl. And then covetousness is batzah, which is Strong's H1215, and that means like gain or plunder. Okay, not to be put into charge to be rulers over the people for gain. Okay. Now, what is a challenge for this is that, first of all, this never works. And we see it right here as Yasharel goes down the line. The people that you may pick, just to stand from a pragmatic position, the people that you may pick today are not going to be the same people in that position 50 years from now, 100 years from now, if the world were to sustain. So you're going to have different people that'll have authority with different intentions. Okay, it'll never be as the way that it was initiated, in this case, through Moshe. Okay, Moshe chosen by Elohim. So what it ends up happening then is darkness and death of the firstborn. That's what ends up happening because of that. And that's what happens in the world. We have the apostles that are doing and have done the same things. And what do we have here? We have the authority of the serpent with the mouthpiece of the serpent that is deceiving the entire world. Speaking the fact that there is no need to repent. And in fact, to turn back to Yah is unrighteousness. Okay? Deceive the whole world. So change is really what occurs by this. Okay, so what happens here is that the waters will become bitter again, because man will change the way of Yahweh. Mashiach, when he comes, he's the fullness of the way, which is Torah. Torah is Strong's H451, and it means teaching, precept, or statute. Okay? But the root, the primitive root, which would be very well what was being spoken here, is yara, and that means, and that's Strong's H3384, and that means to flow as water. Okay, to flow as water, the living waters, the words of Yahweh. Okay, so the teachings, the way of Yah is to flow as water, which is healing. Okay, but those waters will become bitter again as man changes the way of Yah. Okay, as the serpent uses the word of Yah incorrectly or takes it in vain, and men then by in turn takes the way of Yah in vain, changes it. Yah does not change. Yithro says here, it's too much for you, it's too heavy for you. You will not be able to perform it all yourself. You will wear away. That is not true. We still have the Torah right now. This way of Yah, of Yahweh, the name of Yahweh, is the Torah, is the way of Yahweh, which never ends. That is forever, and it never changes. Praise Yah. So none of this is right. It is all wrong. But Mosheh hearkens to it. Okay, now we see another step into the death of the firstborn, into the world that we have today. Okay, and then the words for heads. Okay, so it says Mosheh chose able men out of all of Yisrael, made them heads over the people, and the rulers of all the numbers there. And the hard causes they brought unto Mosheh, but every small matter they judged themselves. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a small matter when it comes to the way of Yah. It is all very weighty. Okay, and we will see this because we're going to talk with the covenant, with the 10 devarim, what's put to us as the 10 devarim or the 10 commandments, how incredibly challenging it is in this, especially what it seems to be, especially in this day and age. I mean, I'm sure it was challenging before all this technology and communication where we're just constantly bombarded with the serpent, the way, the words, the actions of the serpent. Whereas we could have just gone in the country someplace and had the word of Yah and just lived in the creation and glorified the creation. That's really hard to do today, to completely separate yourself from the words, the way, the thoughts, the actions of the serpent. Because it's everywhere. You can't go anywhere. So that's where we have the double portion of manna, which is given to us, and our comforter, which gives us the strength and guidance, Ruach HaKodesh. We have all the tools to exist in this time, and to be successful in this time with our spiritual desire. But when we start to look at this, how it's simple these instructions are, they seem to be, we look at our lives, when we start to become honest with ourselves and get away from this fantasy world that we have created for what we want with our lives versus what it really is and what it will be too, we see how hard it is, how challenging it is, and how imperative that we come away, do as the Mashiach tells us, to come out, to get away, to separate, let everything go, and then follow him. Okay, so that's what happens, and the word for heads is Rosh. That's Strong's H7218. And that means the head, Rosh, the head. Okay, I was going to read, because we're running kind of low on time here, it's 1 Timothy. Well, we might read 1 Timothy very quickly. Okay, because just to lay out, what it is that the apostles did, and we can look back to say, well, what went wrong here? How did we get a universal church with the leader who places himself in place of Jesus Christ? Or God on this earth, the Pope. How did we get that? And then how do we get this this Reformation that says that they reformed the way of Christianity, but they're doing the same exact things that they say that they have come out of? That was me. I was Protestant, protester, right? Protesting the universal church, and Catholic is universal. That's what Catholic means. And the changing of the times, the changing of the the way, the Torah. The Torah is no longer something that we do as Christians. We do the things of the church. Okay, so it's the holy days of the church. We do the rites of the church, the rite of baptism in the church, rite of communion in the church. We have these creeds that we pledge to the serpent of what we profess, who God is. We state who God is. Okay, this Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Okay. We do all of these things. We abolish the Sabbath, which is the seventh day, which is our first appointment, which is what we will be looking forward to when Mashiach returns, the seventh day rest of the world. Okay, the 7,000th year. That's what we look for and why we keep the Sabbath. But now the Sabbath is the first day, which is the day of the sun, which is called the Lord's Day, which the Lord's Day, or the day of the Lord, is judgment. Okay, that's the judgment. And what we're judged upon is the Torah, which is Mosheh, which is what we're discussing now, is that it never fades. It'll never fade away. It is eternal. Okay, I am that I am. So, what went wrong? What went wrong here? Well, the same errors were being made, but what a challenging, that happened here with Mosheh, but what a challenging role given to the apostles. Because an apostle is somebody sent forth with a message, and the message is repent, because the kingdom of heaven has come near. Okay, that's the Besorah, repentance and remission of sins, and repentance is coming back into relationship through Mashiach and following the Torah. Okay, following the name of Yahweh that He made known to us in John 17:17. So, what a challenging thing, though, to do in a world of complete disarray when it comes to the Ruach. Okay, Babel is confusion. Babylon is mass confusion. That's what the words mean. Babel is confusion. Babylon is mass confusion. That's why, in Key Zion and Revelation says, my children come out of Babylon. Come out of mass confusion. And it's not confusion of the body, it's a confusion of the spirit or the Ruach. We're to come out of that confusion. To be confused is to be double-minded, to be pulled in two different directions. It's almost like we have a hornet's nest inside of us that we just don't know what to do, or here, there, here, there, here, there, here, there, because we don't seek. We don't seek the relationship, because we don't desire the relationship. We don't see it that way, because we're still stuck in this confusion, which is the darkness, which is hearkening to the way of the serpent, who has the authority right now. So, what we have here, though, is a letter to Timothy, and stating, what to do here. Okay, you were one of the first going out here, and this is what is going to be needed for you to remember. Okay, as you go forward. So he's being somebody that the called out are now looking to for the way, which is our role right now. Are ourselves who are hearkening to the words of Mashiach and are coming back into that relationship completely, with seeking completely. So pay attention here, but we also need to think about this too, because we're several, 1,000 years, 1,800 years from this time, that we can see what went wrong. We can look back and see what went wrong here. And we can actually see what we're supposed to do, and just speak the words of living water and give others that water to drink, so then they become living waters. Okay, we're not to set up any type of hierarchy, because that's really what is happening here. That's what we see with Mosheh, with the Rosh, the heads. Our heads is Mashiach. Okay, we are all one body, or one group with one head. That's Mashiach. He's the Rosh. But what Mosheh does, he set up all these different heads, okay, that will be over the people to judge and govern, in a sense. Same thing is what's taken from these letters right here. Okay, so 1 Timothy chapter 3, we're going to read through the end of chapter 4. But it says, this is a true saying, if a man desire the office of an elder, he desires a good work. An elder must be blameless, a man of one woman, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach, not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous, one that rules well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the called out assembly of Yahweh? Not a novice, lest being filled up with pride, he will fall into the condemnation of the devil or the accuser. Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the accuser of the devil. Likewise must the deacons be grave, not double-tongued, not given to much wine, not greedy of filthy lucre, holding the mystery of the belief in a pure conscience. And let these also first be proved. Then let them use the office of a deacon, being found blameless. Even so must their women be grave, not slanderers, sober, faithful in all things. Let the deacons be the men of one woman, ruling their children and their own houses well. For they that have used the office of a deacon have purchased to themselves a good degree, and with great boldness in the belief which is in the Mashiach Yahusha. These things write I unto you, hoping to come to you shortly. But if I tarry long, that you may know how you ought to behave yourself in the house of Yahweh, which is the called out assembly of the living Yah, the pillar and the ground of the truth. And without controversy, great is the mystery of holiness. Yahweh was manifest in the flesh, justified in the Ruach, seen of angels, preached unto the other nations, believed on in the world, received up into glory. Okay. So, Yahweh was made manifest in the flesh through Yahushua HaMashiach. All right, so here it's got very similar traits, okay, for an elder and what's here is a deacon, okay? They must be blameless, man of one woman, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality and apt to teach, okay? Not given to wine, no striker or a brawler, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient and not covetous, okay, for gain, to be in position for gain. One that rules his own house well, because how can you rule, how shall you take care of the called out assembly of Yahweh if you can't rule your own house, is how that's stating. So we're raising people up here, all right? But Mashiach tells us that the servant is not above the master, a student above the teacher. Okay, that we are all, isn't it enough to be as, is what he says, as. Now, given this, there are those that we're doing right now is we're speaking the healing words. I am Yahweh who heals you. That's what we learned last week. But we're speaking the words of Yara, which is water to flow as water. Okay, Yara, to flow as water. It's living water, which is the way of Yah. That's what we're speaking. So here, though, what can be interpreted and taken as a series of levels, okay, a hierarchy of those in charge, okay, not an assembly who is the same. Isn't it enough to be as the teacher, okay? Because that's to be as Mashiach. That's what he's saying. Through the Ruach HaKodesh, the called out assembly is a body together. And we have one head, and that is Mashiach. He is our Rosh. Not what can be taken here is to set up all these other heads. Okay. I would ask you to read chapter 4, in 1 Timothy, if you would like to continue on with that. I'll give you a little bit better concept too. We're going to move on to 1 Corinthians 12, and we're going to read 1 through 31. Okay, speaking here, because this is very important to us to get this concept down, especially as we get to a point to where we know that we are to go forward. That's what Yahweh tells Mosheh when the people are worried before they cross the Red Sea. He says, why are you crying unto me? Tell Yasharel to go forward. We're Yasharel. We're to go forward. Moshe's telling us to go forward. Right here, the Torah, Mashiach, Yahweh made manifest in the flesh. Yahusha, the Word made flesh. He's telling us to go forward. So we're not to sit and to amass, we're to go out and to be the living water, give the living water, be the light, and give water to drink. All right, so 1 Corinthians chapter 12, we'll read 1 through 31. It says, Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were of the other nations, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Ruach Yahweh calls Yahusha accursed, and that no man can say that Yahweh is Yahusha, but by the Ruach HaKodesh. Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Ruach. And there are differences of administrations, but the same Yahweh. And there are diversities of operations, but it is the same Yah which works all in all. But the manifestation of the Ruach is given to every man to profit withal. For to one is given by the Ruach the word of wisdom, and another the word of knowledge by the same Ruach. To belief by the same Ruach. To another the gifts of healing by the same Ruach. To another the working of miracles. To another prophecy. To another discerning of the Ruachoth spirits. To another diverse kinds of tongues. To another the interpretation of tongues. But all these work that one and the selfsame Ruach, dividing to every man severally as he will. Okay, so these are some of the gifts of the Ruach HaKodesh, dividing to every man severally as he will. Continuing on, verse 12 says, For as the body is one, and has many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Mashiach. For by one Ruach are we all immersed into one body, whether we be Yahudim or the other nations, whether we bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one Ruach. For the body is not one member, but many. If the foot shall say, Because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear shall say, Because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where were the smelling? But now that Yah set the members, every one of them, in the body as it pleased him. And if they were all one member, where were the body? And now are they many members, yet one body. And the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of you, nor the hand to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body, which seem to be more feeble, are necessary. And those members of the body, which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor. And our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. For our comely parts have no need, but Yahweh has tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to that part which lacked, that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care for another. And whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it, or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. Now ye are the body of Mashiach, and members in particular. And Yah has set some in the assembly, first apostles, secondary prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healing, helps, governments, diversities of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Are all workers of miracles? Have all the gifts of healing? Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret? But covet earnestly the best gifts, and yet show I unto you a more excellent way. And he goes in to speak love, which is the excellent way, which is the way of Yahweh. Because what we're talking about here in chapter 12, we got the gifts of the Ruach HaKodesh in the beginning, which is wisdom, knowledge, belief, healing, miracles, prophecy, discerning of spirits, tongues, understanding of tongues, things like this. And Yahweh divides these gifts from the Ruach, from the same Ruach, severally, as he will, and amongst the called out. okay, the called out assembly, where we all become one body, okay, so also is Mashiach. Now, Mashiach prays before he is taken that we become Yachad, like he and Yah are Yachad. So we become one in the same fashion that Mashiach is one. Okay, so we all become the brethren of the firstborn, the first fruits of Mashiach, of the resurrection. Okay, because if we are single in the way of Yah, we have our desire, our fervent desire to seek the relationship, and that is our entire life, that is what we want, then we can, when we know that our role here is to go forward, is to go forth. It's not to think of ourselves as any portion like this, like I'm better than you. All right, I have more gifts for the Ruach HaKodesh than you do. Because are all apostles, are all prophets, are all teachers, are all workers of miracles, have all the gifts of healing. Do we all have these gifts? And the answer is no, we don't. We are given these things when we seek the relationship because we want to be with Yahweh. And then by doing so, that lends to the love, to love your neighbor as yourself, is to help others. That's the rivers of water, the springs of flowing of living water out of our mouths. And then we do so out of love. Okay, and that is love. Because at that point, we are showing the way. All right, we are the living embodiment of the way of Yahweh. Very challenging though. Very challenging. And that's why we study the Torah. So that we know when we read things like this that yes, we are all a body here that are made up, and we do have diverse gifts that are given through the Ruach HaKodesh, dividing to every man severally as Yahweh will. But we have the potential and expectation to be as Mashiach. Okay? When we accept that gift of repentance, which is turning back to the way of Yah through the death and resurrection of Mashiach, through this chance, this doorway, this grace gift that we don't deserve, because we don't deserve it, we come out of a world that hearkens to the serpent. Same exact things that Adam and Eve did in the Garden of Eden. We're doing the same thing. Same exact thing. We're reading about it. We get, color the pages when we're kids, and we got fig leaves and all that stuff. We know all about this, but we do not internalize the relationship or the fact that this is all about relationship. It's about a desire to be one. We're made in the image of Elohim. That was our original creation. Okay, so that is now groaning until the return of Mashiach. To where, with our desire to be as we were in the beginning, which is Yachad, or one, with Elohim, that we will be raised again with Mashiach as the first fruits. Okay. All right. So, we're going to stop right there, and I hope that these words have blessed you as they have blessed me, and has given you a better, or maybe a broader perspective in what is occurring here, what has occurred, and what's expected of us now, to go forward. But to go forward in a way that, who are we? We are a servant. We are a servant of the Most High. And we are happy to do that because it is right. It is righteousness. We can see the difference between the way of the serpent, which is death, and the way of Yahweh, which is life. And praise Yah for that opportunity, that double portion of manna that we have today through Mashiach, Yahusha, Ruach HaKodesh. All right, have a wonderful day today, and we'll be back here tomorrow to pick up with Parashat Yithro. Thank you.